Tesla's growth seems to have hit a roadblock. For the first time ever, we are seeing a serious drop in Tesla sales. And with how things are going, there's no sign of things returning to normal. Despite the fall in sales, Tesla's production hasn't slowed down. Now they have thousands of unsold electric cars piled up everywhere. But that's just the beginning. Tesla is also dealing with many other problems. What exactly are these problems? Let's find out. At number 6, thousands of EVs are piling up. Recently, people have noticed something that shows Tesla's having a hard time. They saw that lots of Teslas are sitting around, not just at the dealerships, but also in surrounding areas. This means they're making more cars than people want to buy. Now they're stuck with a bunch of cars just sitting there, waiting for someone to buy them. This all began when people heard about 400 Tesla cars sitting in the parking lot of a closed mall in St. Louis. But it didn't stop there. Soon, people found out that this wasn't just happening in one place. The same thing was happening at the parking lot of the old Chesterfield Mall and at the Quaker Bridge Mall in New Jersey. It was then reported that this was happening in other parts of the U.S. too, like at the Roosevelt Field Mall in Westbury, and even at the Buena Park Mall in California. Clearly, the problem is much bigger than it first seemed. Tesla is seeing a drop in sales for the first time in years. In the first 3 months of this year, sales went down by 8.5% compared to the same time last year. Experts found that almost 11% of the cars made in the first 3 months of 2021 were not sold. Last year, this number was just 2%. This means that Tesla, based in Austin, sold about 387,000 cars in the first quarter of this year. But they made over 433,000 cars in the same time period. This shows they are making more cars than they can sell. In simpler terms, Tesla ended up with a lot of extra cars, 46,500 to be exact, that no one bought. Even though they don't give exact numbers about how long it takes to sell their cars because they don't use dealerships, experts say it would take about 90 days to sell all the cars they have now. For comparison, Toyota only has enough cars to last for 27 days. This shows that Tesla might have some tough times ahead. Before we continue, if you're enjoying this video, do well to give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button to show your support. If you've done that, let's continue. Number 5, canceled cheap EV project. Another issue is that they have scrapped their plan for making a new electric car. A recent report from Reuters talked about it. Tesla decided not to go ahead with what they were calling the Model 2. They realize they're not making enough money right now, so they need to be careful with what they invest in. They had to choose between making a cheap electric car or focusing on their robo-taxi project. In the end, they chose to shift their focus from making the small electric car, which they planned to call the Model 2. Many thought this car would be really popular because it was going to be affordable, starting at around $25,000 to $30,000. But with the recent changes, they realized they might not make enough money if they sell it at those prices. So they decided to prioritize the robo-taxi project instead. What's interesting is that neither Elon Musk nor anyone else from Tesla said the report from Reuters was wrong. They didn't deny it. Also, it seems like their first self-driving car, the robo-taxi, is almost ready to be revealed. The newest report says this might happen in August. That's when we'll learn more about this exciting project and what else Tesla has planned for the future. Number 4, massive discounts. The EV market has also slowed down. This didn't just happen suddenly, it's been happening for a while now. As far back as the third quarter of last year, Tesla began giving big discounts on its cars. To understand what's happening now, consider this. The Model 3 used to start at about $47,000 in early 2023, but now it starts at only $39,000. Comparing prices between the most popular models from last year and now shows how much things have changed. Also, looking at the average price of their cars gives us a good idea of what's going on. In just the past year or so, the average price dropped by 21%, from about $63,000 to around $50,000. Recently, Tesla cut prices again by $2,000 on all models. This means you can get the Model Y for less than $45,000 now. compared to around $63,000 back in 2022. According to Cox Automotive, in some cases, you can lease the Model Y for less than $400 a month. It's important to remember the big discounts Tesla offers on its self-driving feature, which dropped by 33% and now costs only $8,000. Plus, their Model Y still gets a $7,500 federal tax credit. Because of these discounts, Tesla isn't making as much profit as before. Many people doubt that Tesla is making more than 10 to 15% profit on electric cars anymore. In the first quarter, their net income fell by 55%, and their total revenue went down by 9%, which will be around $21.3 billion in total. The main reasons they're not doing so well lately are the slowing growth and the big discounts they're giving. But there are other challenges ahead that could make things even worse, like Biden's announcement of new tariffs on batteries and other parts for electric cars from China. Since Tesla uses these parts in several of their models, they're in a tough spot. They'll have to choose between making even less profits or raising prices, which might make it harder to sell their cars. At number 3, Chinese market challenges. China is definitely one of Tesla's most important markets. The Austin-based company has been in China for a long time and has done very well there. Right now, Tesla is the second biggest player in the Chinese electric car market, right behind BYD. However, it looks like they are starting to see a decline in China. Currently, Tesla holds about 10% of the Chinese EV market, but sales have been going down for a while. Some sources say that in the first quarter of this year, Tesla saw a huge drop of over 40% in sales, with the numbers stuck at around 300,000 vehicles. The problem they face is deep and complex, and it's not just because of the increasing competition from local companies. For example, BYD recently started a price war, which also affects Tesla's profits. Another important issue is how the Chinese government might react to President Biden's decision to impose high tariffs on Chinese plug-in vehicles and components. It's almost certain that China will retaliate in some way, and this will likely have a negative impact on Tesla's business in China. Number 2, Tesla is laying off 14,000 workers. With so many challenges and immense pressure on Tesla's operations worldwide, it's no surprise that the company is looking to save money. And what's the easiest way to cut expenses? It's almost always by reducing the number of workers. They have decided to cut 10% of its workforce. Since Tesla employs over 140,000 workers globally, this means that 14,000 people will lose their jobs. This decision affects employees at different plants around the world. In North America alone, there will be more than 6,000 layoffs. Experts have already mapped out the layoffs, so we know the exact figures for each plant. In the United States, most job losses will happen in Texas, with around 3,300 employees being affected. In California, nearly 2,700 workers will lose their jobs. The Nevada plant will see 700 layoffs, and the Buffalo plant will have 285 layoffs. Globally, most job cuts will occur in China, as expected. Some sources also speculate that around 400 layoffs will happen in Germany. What's particularly interesting is that these layoffs include not just regular workers, but also higher management. This has led to 2 major executives leaving the company. Drew Baglano, Tesla's Senior Vice President of Powertrain and Energy, and Rohan Patel, Vice President of Public Policy and Business Development. And number 1, Tesla's stock prices are falling. So many negative things have been happening at Tesla lately. There are sales declines, price cuts, layoffs, Cybertruck troubles, and only modest profits. These are just some of the problems they are facing. When we look at all of this, it's easy to see what might happen next. For a while now, their shares have been going down. Honestly, we don't think this trend will change anytime soon. The stock has been dropping every day, especially in April, leading to a 43% decline for the year. Tesla is now the second worst performing company in the S&P 500. Forecasts for the rest of the year don't look good either. Experts predict a 5.1% drop in revenue. This would be the first year-over-year decline in 4 years. Since the second quarter of 2020, when operations were disrupted by the COVID-19 pandemic. In other words, difficult times are ahead for the electric vehicle industry. And this time, it won't just affect the traditional automakers. Alright, we've come to the end of this video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons, and let us know your thoughts in the comments section. And we'll see you in the next video.